Hello, hello Sagittarius. Welcome to your December 2018 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Sagittarius. And happy birthday to those of you who have either recently had a birthday or have an upcoming birthday. I'm in full agreement for whatever it is that you are hoping to bring into this new year. And don't forget, I do pull a birthday card at the very end since it's your guys' month and season. So stay tuned until the very end for that extra card, that extra little goodie I give you guys. And go ahead, set your intention if there's anything you want to have come up today. And I also want to let you guys know that I did redo my website, so there's a lot of new stuff on my tarot spreads and single questions and everything like that. So go check out the services and all that good stuff when you get a chance. Deep breath into the diaphragm. And I see you. Alright, so this is really about giving yourself permission to be seen and to see other people for who they really are. This is not a time to sugarcoat or make excuses for people. It's just about looking at situations and relationships for what they really are and who they really are. The Affirmators Family card, I have release. If you've been carrying an old resentment, clinging to past their prime wounds, or been holding fast to the faint, nagging echoes of arguments past, arguments present, or in your own mind, arguments future, you are being prompted to release them all. Let this be your assurance that you don't need to carry these burdens anymore. You're not the hardships of your past, and your family connections are only as strong as the resentments you can release. So why not torch those burnt bridges and get this new leaf party started? And this is true for all relationships, not just family. And it's certainly not limited to blood relation, just in case any of you are wondering. It's a little bit broader than that. And then we have ungrateful daughter and earthly mother. So there's definitely something about, well, you're having quite a relationship spread pop up already. Things being really unbalanced and not reciprocated. So there's something about either you not receiving things well or someone not receiving you. And this is one of those things that you really want to be conscientious and pay attention to any mistreatment you're receiving or anything that feels really out of balance for you. This is a time to address it and not make excuses for people. I can't emphasize that enough. Release the resentments, but also make sure that you're holding people accountable and holding yourself accountable for your behavior, your role in relationships, because it's never one-sided, and just seeing all sides. The central energy for you is the Ten of Swords, break down, break through. It's definitely bittersweet with the Ten of Swords because it's such a necessary card to have pop up for so many different reasons. But please remember that this isn't permanent. So when the Ten of Swords makes an appearance, yes, it's showing that wounding that you're working through, but at the same time, it's also what enables you to move forward faster. So just, you're going to have to kind of roll with the punches. So let's see, the crossing energy is the Two of Chalices. Yeah, so this is where it kind of gets sticky, is that relationships are matters of the heart. Right, so that can be where the most pain occurs, in healing relational wounds, in working through relationships, in releasing unhealthy relationships, and it seems like there's a whole bunch of that energy coming to the surface in December. That, again, breakdown, breakthrough, around relationships, and that can be really exhausting and painful. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it there. It's just about what you do with the information that you are getting from this experience, because this is how you remember who you are. It's how you evolve into who you're meant to be, is by going through this process. But you kind of have to be willing to recognize what's going on. This is not going to be a good month where you bury your head in the sand. And that's definitely not something that's really an option if you want things to improve. So let's see what's moving out for you. The Magician. So I think there's a lot of things coming to fruition during this month that you may not have realized you've manifested. And that's one of the things that I know people get really tripped up on, is this idea that if you're going through something painful, many of those times when you're having an intense period of release, there's a lot of that has to do with it being a product of something you've manifested. And, right, so whatever judgments you're placing on, like, whether or not it's a good or bad thing, at the end of the day, like, let's say you're upgrading, you're leveling up your life, you're expanding on a profound scale, especially with the Jupiter moving into your sign. That is going to cause you to release things that you've outgrown. And in essence, you are manifesting those pressure points. So again, we can call it good and bad if you want. If you want to put a value judgment on it, you can. I am just looking at this from more of a neutral perspective of it being an organic process for you, especially as you're expanding, growing, and thriving. The Ten of Swords is bound to come up because when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. And so some things are going to start to fall away for you. The oncoming energy is the Queen of Chalices. So this is you being more stable in your emotions. So it seems like things actually level out, or you're able to gain a higher perspective on what's going on. And it's kind of like, oh, I see how all of this is unfolding. I see why this is happening. I see why it's changing. And so I like seeing this card for you because it's stepping away from the, again, the judgment. It's stepping away from that and just kind of looking at it more holistically in the bigger picture. So that's where the Queen of Chalices is really supporting you at this time, to kind of ride the waves of your emotions and instead just focus on the growth that you're experiencing. The outward manifestation is the Five of Pentacles. So again, there's like this, I'm getting that this is an important time for you to rest. Rest, rest, rest. We know you're working hard. Again, all of this should be things that you're familiar with. Whenever there is stress or release, emotional growth, these things inspire fatigue. You know, it can really be taxing on your energy levels. And so the best thing that you can do is just let yourself rest. I'm not even gonna, you know, encourage you to overanalyze it or judge yourself for where you're at. It's just give your body, mind, and spirit what it needs. And I think December is a big, big, big month for Sagittarius. You know, like I mentioned with Jupiter, right? I'm not an astrologer, but I know that's a big transit. It's moving into your sign and everything, or it did in November. And so there's just so much that you're working with. And that's really what's going to help you to grow. But again, with growing pains, you want to make sure you're getting adequate rest, food, just take good care of yourself. Okay, that's the big thing that's coming up here. And then in the subconscious, we have the Hierophant. I'm seeing this as you trying to kind of like strategize or figure out where to go or what to do next. It just seems like it's coming up as creating a map for yourself. I'm going to clarify this one. Page of Rods. So I think you're, yeah, it's just like you're problem solving, evaluating, and working things out. And it's like you're going to continue to use that mutability that you have to kind of shift through, you know, all the things that you're working through, sorting through what works, what doesn't, taking inventory, evaluating, and then creating healthy boundaries and structure for yourself so that you can move forward and kind of put yourself more into the Queen of Chalices energy. But this is just about evaluating and then creating structure. The advice for you in December is the Knight of Pentacles. Stay grounded. Don't make any major decisions right now. It doesn't look like it's the time to make big moves. It's a big month, but it's also an emotional month. It's also kind of, it looks very tiring and like you're working really hard. And with that, it's not a good time to try to position yourself in, just don't, I don't want to say don't commit to anything because that's not really realistic, but just be cautious of what you say yes to is what's coming from this card. External influences for December, we have the Three of Pentacles, working. Again, it's going to take effort. It's going to be tiring. It's something you have to actively be involved in. And sometimes if you're trying to call something into your space, if you're manifesting something, then consequently you're in a position where you need to release things, and so you have to construct as you go. It's not something that's going to totally make sense right off the bat. You kind of have to work into it. Hopes and fears, we have the Four of Wands. I think this is you really wanting to keep things light and fun and enjoyable. That's definitely something Sagittarians are gifted at. So it's like really being able to, how do I put this? It's like really wanting things to calm down. I think you're just kind of like, yeah, I get all this. But you know, can't we just skip this part? That's what I'm getting from the Four of Wands. It's just wanting to see everything come together, see everything, you know, the way it needs to be, and kind of being able to walk away from this part of your life in some respects, or even if this is totally internal, right? It may not be something that you're experiencing in the outside world. It may just be an internal process, but it still seems that the Four of Rods is that energy of just get on with it. Like, let's just move forward. Let's just do the damn thing. And it's like you're going to get there, but you kind of have to walk through this part first. And the outcome for the month of December is the Page of Chalices. So this is kind of setting new intentions. And like this card, the release card said, get this new leaf party started. And that's kind of what the Page of Chalices is encouraging you to do. Go back to a simpler mindset where things were less jaded, and kind of, you know, restart for yourself. Give yourself a chance to see things unfold differently. Give things the benefit of the doubt and see things through fully. And the clarifier for this is the Five of Rods. It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. Even if it's frustrating or feels combative in any regard, it's worth paying attention to. It's worth doing. It's worth walking through. And Rome wasn't built in a day. A healthy mindset isn't built in a day either. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes effort. So don't shy away from needing to construct this and realign yourself frequently. Just do the work. Like, just do it, and the faster you'll get back to stability within yourself. Now let's get into the timeline. If you guys are new to my channel, this is where you start off the month of December, and then this is the first quarter. Time is fluid, that's why I don't say the first week, because it's the first quarter. Second, third, and fourth quarter, that's where you end up at the end of December. Okay, first thing coming up is dreams. Dreams see the possible pathways of the future that act as a roadmap for our actions. Give yourself time to daydream and think about the bigger and better things you're calling into your space. You might find it provides some relief for you because, you know, dreams are really important so that you can call again, bigger and better things into your space. That's really what this is all about. This is how it starts. It's just about thinking big, which I know Sagittarius does not have an issue doing. Just think bigger and watch things unfold. And then second quarter, we have compassion. By widening your circle of compassion for all of nature's creatures, your spirit will soar. This is actually communicating compassion for yourself, compassion for where you're at, compassion for what you're going through, compassion for how you feel. Do your best to remove judgments from the things that you're doing, from the processes that you're going through, from the projects that you're undertaking. Do your best to not just set a judgment on it and judge yourself for how you're handling it or what it is that you're needing, I guess. It's just like you need what you need, you want what you want, you are going through what you're going through, and that's it. Just let it be that simple. You don't need to overanalyze it. So try not to get too in your head about it. Let yourself just breathe for a moment. Third quarter, we have future. Direct your intentions and actions wisely, and your future will be fed with fulfillment. This is a great card because it really drives home that concept of manifestations are not just if you have a negative thought or if you have a positive thought. It's so much more than that. I can't remember what other sign had this as like their theme, but remember that manifestations need to be backed up with what you think, what you say, and what you do. It's all three of those. It's what you embody. And so that's why this is reminding you, direct your intentions and actions wisely. So pour energy into what you want. That's key here. All right, wrapping up December, we have passion. Passion is an inner flame that will keep you striving toward your vision. Okay, so I think you're starting to get your energy back. It's just about refocusing. I also want to mention that if you don't do any of this, right, like if you don't have compassion for yourself, if you're being really hard on yourself, if you're not thinking ahead, if you're not being conscientious with where you're putting your time, effort, and energy, none of this is going to apply. Like you're going to stay complacent if you don't make changes, and that's just the reality. It's like, you know, cause and effect. So let yourself continuously remind yourself of the cause and effect principle that's at play here. And if you really want things to improve, you're going to have to start taking those actions towards improvement. And as usual, we have a 3-card pick. So you're welcome to choose a card, any card, as few or as many as you'd like. And first thing coming up, 7 of Rods. So there's definitely something here about like proving yourself that's coming up, or this looks very superficial to me. I'm getting a lot of like tit for tat. Oh, look at me, look at what I'm doing. There's definitely a lot of that coming up here. And what you need to keep in mind is, how has that worked for you? Is it something that's hindered you? Because again, it's not good or bad. It's about, is it working? Does it make you feel good? Is it actually supportive? What is the payoff here? And, you know, think about these things. The more you're able to evaluate this, the better off you're going to be. It's not something to just be unconscious about. It's best to be mindful of how much value you're giving to, other people's thoughts and opinions. All right, card number 2, we have the 8 of Swords. So feeling confined, feeling restrained, feeling like you can only go so far or you only have so much. And there's a lot more to this, but this is absolutely about limiting beliefs here. So I think this is also in this deck, the Justice card. But really be careful with what you, with what your limiting beliefs are. And it's all about paying attention to self-talk. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what those are, pay attention to when you get excited or something comes up, what do you say internally about the situation? Are you encouraging or are you dismissive? And card number 3, we have the 9 of Swords. So it's like, what's keeping you awake at night? That is something that you might want to address. Like if it's a problem, if it's a relationship, if it's stress, whatever it is, address it, because this isn't just gonna go away overnight. It's something that you you have to kind of stare it in the face. And that's the only way it's going to go away, is through seeking resolution. All right, and this is the card for you. I'm using the Alchemist Oracle deck, so this is not a tarot deck, but this is just for you guys. Okay, so let's see. What do you need to know? Sacral chakra. Okay, so sacral chakra is all about pleasure. It is the area of creation, and it's the space where you hold boundaries. So this is low belly. This is also hooked into your sex organs as well. So that's kind of the point of creation. So this is a good time for creative expression. It's a really great time to practice things that are sensual, whether it be tactile or like cooking yummy meals, getting a massage, like things like that that are through the senses, sensual experiences. That's what can really give you some additional support. So let yourself, treat yourself to those things, and it's going to be a huge game changer for you. So this is actually coming up as an advice card. Like that's an area of your chakra system that could use a little bit of TLC, and to keep an eye on that, because the more you're feeding that, the more energy you'll have. It's going to give a boost to the rest of your system. Feed the second chakra, and it seems like things are going to even out, I mean, in part. All right, so that is all that I have for you. Happy birthday, Sagittarius, for those of you who have birthdays, either past or are coming up. And don't forget, thank you to each and every one of you who work with me. You guys are what make this channel possible. You are the ones who make it so that I can do these videos for you, and I appreciate you more than you know. If you would like to support the channel, you are welcome to check out the link in the description box. There's a bunch of ways to do it, even if you just want to send me a note or a comment or a testimonial, whatever it is, there's a bunch of ways to do it. So everything that you need is in the description box. All the decks that I've used today are in the description box. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you're welcome to check out the links as well. There's a bunch of new stuff in there, so I invite you to check it out because you might find something that you want to treat yourself to. And there's a whole variety of things, so it's like there's no budget that's out of the question. I make it very easy and accessible for people. So check all of that out. And until next time, have a lovely December. Happy birthday again, and I wish you nothing but the best. Have a good one, Sagittarius. Bye-bye.